Hey everyone, my name is David Delvero, co-founder of Strata Capital, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the most important open enrollment decisions you'll need to make this year. We will cover topics like how to choose a health insurance plan, should you use an HSA, how to contribute $70K per year to your 401k, which life and disability insurance plan should I choose, and even what options make sense for your stock compensation election. Remember, you only get one shot at this each year. Once that window closes, you're stuck with those choices until next year. By watching this video, you'll be able to make your open enrollment choices with confidence. Let's dive in. When it comes to open enrollment, the first big decision is usually health insurance. Most companies give you a handful of options, and the differences come down to cost, flexibility, and how much risk you're comfortable taking. Let's walk through the most common ones that we see. Number one is the PPO, or Preferred Provider Organizations. These are usually the most flexible. You'll pay higher premiums every month, but your deductible is lower, and you can see specialists without a referral. You also get some coverage if you go out of network. This is a good fit if you want maximum choices and you know your family uses your healthcare plan often. The next choice is the HMO, or the Health Maintenance Organizations. They work a little bit differently. They typically have lower premiums, but you're limited to in-network doctors and you'll need a referral from a primary care physician before seeing a specialist. The trade-off is predictable, coordinated care at a lower cost. Next up is the High Deductible Health Plans. Your monthly premiums are usually the lowest, but the deductible and out-of-pocket costs are significantly higher if something were to happen. The real advantage here is that the High Deductible plans are the only plans that let you contribute to a health savings account, or HSA. And HSAs are one of the most tax-advantaged accounts available. So if you're healthy, have cash reserves, or you want to build another long-term investment bucket, this can be a smart choice. Next up is the EPO, or Exclusive Provider Organizations. They sit somewhere in between. Like an HMO, you have to stay in network, but like a PPO, you usually don't need referrals to see specialists. Premiums are generally pretty moderate and fall in the middle compared to the other plans. And finally, some plans offer a POS, or point of service plan. This is a hybrid where you'll need a referral to see a specialist, but you also get some limited coverage out of network, just at a higher. So here's the big picture. If you want flexibility and not a lot of out-of-pocket bills during the year and are willing to pay for it, a PPO might make sense. If you want lower premiums and you don't mind staying in network or having less provider options, an HMO or EPO could be the right fit. And if you're comfortable with higher deductibles, more out-of-pocket costs, and want the tax advantages of an HSA, then the high deductible plan might be the best option for you. If your company offers a high deductible health plan, one of the biggest benefits is the access to the health savings account. HSAs are one of the most underutilized but most powerful tools you have in open enrollment. Here's why you may want to consider an HSA. Number one, you get a triple tax advantage. Contributions are tax deductible, the money grows tax deferred, and withdrawals are tax free as long as they're used for qualified medical expenses. Second, unlike an FSA, you don't lose it if you don't spend it. Your HSA balance carries forward year after year and even goes with you if you change jobs. The third is an HSA can actually double as another retirement savings vehicle. After age 65, you can use the money for anything, not just healthcare, and it's taxed the same way a traditional IRA is. How do you know if you should use an HSA? Here's a few tips. If you're generally healthy and you don't expect major medical expenses, an HSA lets you invest what you save on premiums and build it for the future. If you have enough emergency savings and enough cash flow to cover the high deductibles, the risk of a high deductible plan is much more manageable. And if you're already maxing out your 401k or other retirement plans, an HSA can act as an extra tax-advantaged bucket. On the flip side, if your family has ongoing high medical expenses and you don't have the cash flow to comfortably handle the deductible, you may be better off with a PPO or an HMO. Click on the link below if you would like to check out our video on how to use an HSA as an additional tax-free retirement account. Next, let's talk about retirement contributions. When you log into your 401k, you'll usually see three types of contributions available. There'll be pre-tax, Roth, and after-tax. The pre-tax contributions lower your taxable income today, but you'll pay taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement. The Roth contributions are the opposite. You pay taxes now, but withdrawals in retirement are totally tax-free. And then there's the after-tax contributions. These don't get the same upfront deduction, but they're the key to a powerful strategy called the Mega Backdoor Roth. Before we get into that though, let's start with the basics. The very first thing you want to check is whether you're capturing the full company match. That's free money your employer is offering you. If you're not contributing, enough to get the full match, you're essentially leaving part of your compensation on the table. Now, if you're already contributing at least that much, the next step is deciding between pre-tax and the Roth contributions. That choice depends on your current tax bracket. It also could depend on your expected future income and how much tax diversification you'll want in retirement. Once you've maxed out those buckets, after-tax contributions can open up the door to one of the most valuable strategies available to high earners. It's called the Mega Backdoor Roth. This lets you put in additional after-tax dollars and then convert them to a Roth, creating a large pool of tax-free money in the future. This strategy is so powerful, we've created several videos just on this topic alone. If you've got the cash flow and your plan allows it, not taking advantage of the Mega Backdoor Roth is leaving one of the biggest gifts the IRS has ever given on the table. If you can't decide which bucket to use, here's some things that you'll want to think about. If you are earning under the Roth IRA contribution income limit, you can take advantage of the full pre-tax deduction and still contribute to an outside personal Roth IRA if your cash flow allows it. If you're a high earner and would like the max pre-tax deduction but still like the idea of a tax-free Roth, you can contribute to the pre-tax and utilize a Mega Backdoor Roth strategy to contribute dollars into your Roth accounts. Remember, the Backdoor Roth strategy using a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA can generate a tax bill if you currently have funds in a personally owned IRA. This strategy is best for people who currently have all of their retirement assets in employer-sponsored plans. Finally, let's talk about how you're actually investing your 401k dollars. Too many people just stick with the default fund and never look back. One of the simplest options that's in almost all plans now is the target date fund. These usually have a year in the name, like a 2040 fund or 2050 fund. That year represents the date you expect to retire. So early on, when retirement is far away, the fund invests heavily in stocks for growth. As you get closer to the year, it automatically starts to shift to a more conservative mix with more bonds and fewer stocks. So your portfolio is less exposed to the market right when you need the money and you're about to retire. Target date funds can be a solid set and forget it option, but remember, they're built for the average investor. They're not going to be for your unique situation. Beyond target date funds, it's important to think about your own risk tolerance. In your early working years, having a higher stock allocation can make sense because you've got time on your side. But being aggressive only works if you could actually stay the course during downturns. What good is being aggressive if you panic and sell when the market drops, then wait to get back in once it's recovered? Your strategy should be one you can stick with through ups and downs. Also be mindful of things like company stock. Many executives already have a lot of financial exposure to their employer through salary, bonus, and equity compensation. Loading your 401k with even more company stock just compounds that risk. And don't overlook the costs. Most plans have low-cost index funds sitting right next to the more expensive active funds. Fees eat away at returns over time, so be intentional about what you're paying for. Bottom line is, your 401k investments should fit into your overall financial picture, not exist in the vacuum. Now let's touch on one benefit that only a select group of corporate employees have access to, the non-qualified deferred compensation plan. These plans let you take a portion of your income or bonus and defer it into the future, sometimes even decades into the future. That means you can lower your taxable income today while strategically choosing to take that income in a year when you may be in a lower tax bracket. For high earners, this can be an incredibly powerful tool for managing cash flow and minimizing taxes over the long run. It can also be used alongside your 401k to dramatically increase the amount you're saving for retirement. But here's the thing, deferred compensation comes with complex rules and risks. You're essentially making a deal with your employer. They promise to pay you later, and in the meantime, you have to carefully consider things like the company's financial health, your payout schedule, and how to coordinate this benefit with your other investments and taxes. This is one of the most misunderstood and underutilized benefits available. And if your employer offers it, you owe it to yourself to understand how it works. That's why we created multiple videos just on deferred compensation. In it, we break down exactly how these plans work, biggest mistakes executives make, and strategies to consider if you have access to one. You'll find the links in the description below. It's definitely worth watching if your company offers this benefit. Let's move into a benefit area that can be very impactful. RSU payout elections. These are instructions you give your equity plan administrator telling them how to handle your vested restricted stock units or RSUs, whether to deliver stock, cash, or a mix of both. So what are RSUs and how does the payout work? RSUs are essentially a promise from your employer to give you company shares, and the shares are officially yours once they vest. At that point, the value of those shares is treated as ordinary income and taxable as such, regardless of whether you sell them or not. So why does your election matter? Most equity programs offer different payout options. First is the full stock. You receive all vested shares directly. Taxes are typically covered later or maybe withheld. Then there's the cash equivalent. Your company sells enough of the vested shares to cover taxes and you receive the cash after the taxes. Then there's the partial or fractional mix. You get a combination, so some shares and some cash. This matters because taxes on RSUs are due at vesting even if you don't sell. Now, many companies automatically withhold around 22%, but that's often not enough if the vesting pushes you into a higher tax bracket. So what should I be thinking about when I'm electing an option? The first thing is your cash flow. If you're short on cash, receiving more stock might be okay, but you'll need funds to cover the tax bill, possibly before you sell. The next is concentration risk. Holding a lot of company stock can put too much of your wealth in one basket. If your company stock takes a hit, it's a double blow. Not to mention, there are often blackout periods where you won't be able to liquidate those shares. Next is behavioral discipline. Are you likely to hold on to your shares for growth or sell impulsively if things get rough? Your payout election should align with your financial discipline and your goals. And lastly, you'll need to consider your retirement date. Some companies will not pay shares after the year that you retire. That means if you've elected to get paid out in shares in error, you will be entitled to nothing. Choosing a cash payout, depending on your company's rules, may continue after your retirement date. Another area to review during your open enrollment is your life insurance. Many employees just check the default box, but it's worth asking, do you actually have enough coverage or even need coverage? Here's a simple framework to think about it. First, you'll want to have enough insurance to pay off any debts, like your mortgage or any other major loans, so your family isn't left with that burden. The next thing you'll want to think about is replacing your income for a certain number of years. If you have children, this is especially important because your paycheck may be covering everyday expenses like food, clothing, activities. Then you'll want to consider the childcare costs. If you have young kids, would your spouse or partner need help covering daycare or after school care if you weren't there? And don't forget about college tuition. Even if your children are still little, building in funds for their education could be a part of the calculation. And finally, think about anything else you would have done financially for your family if you were still here. So saving for retirement, weddings, or helping your kids with a down payment for their first home. Now this might sound overwhelming, but it's crucially important to get it right. The good news is there are great online tools like lifehappens.org that can help you estimate survival needs while still adjusting for the rising cost of living. Group life insurance can often be inexpensive, but coverage may be capped. High income earners should usually layer additional private coverage outside of work if their group coverage isn't enough. Another benefit to review during your open enrollment is your group disability insurance. And let's clear up a common misconception right away. Disability insurance is not the same thing as long-term care insurance. They're two very different things. Disability insurance is designed to replace part of your income if you're unable to work due to illness or injury. Generally speaking, your employer will provide a base level of coverage, usually around 40 to 60% of your income. And if you were ever to go on claim under the base coverage, the benefits would be taxable because the premiums were paid by the company. Now, some employers also give you the option to add on supplemental disability coverage. This is where you pay the premiums yourself, usually through payroll deduction. Since you're paying those premiums with after-tax dollars, the benefits you'd receive if you ever went on claim would be tax-free. That supplemental layer can make a huge difference because relying on a taxable 40 to 60% of your income usually isn't enough to support your family's needs. Something else worth mentioning for high-income professionals is the fact that sometimes disability benefits are capped, meaning they'll only pay 40% up to a certain monthly amount. So for example, if you make $750,000 a year and your disability plan coverage is 40% but has a cap of $15K per month, that means you won't actually receive 40%. You'll receive 24%. Another category you may see during open enrollment is voluntary supplemental benefits like critical illness insurance or hospital indemnity coverage. These aren't designed to replace your core health insurance, but to give you an extra layer of protection in very specific situations. Critical illness insurance pays you a lump sum of cash if you're diagnosed with a major health event, things like cancer or a heart attack or stroke. The payout can be used however you want, so you can cover your deductibles, you can pay for out-of-network specialists, even just keeping up with bills while you focus on your recovery. The hospital indemnity insurance works a little differently. It pays you a set dollar amount for each day you're admitted to the hospital. Again, this isn't meant to cover everything, but it can help to offset higher higher deductible copays or lost income if you miss work. I think the key point with these supplemental benefits is that they're not essential for everyone, but they can be worth considering if your family has a history of certain medical conditions, or if you simply just want the extra peace of mind. And lastly, some employers will even offer voluntary benefits like legal services. If you haven't updated your will in a while, we highly recommend considering the legal plan, as it will pay for a lot of your basic estate planning. If your life has changed since your last enrollment, marriage, divorce, new children, or dependents aging out, be sure to update your elections. Also, confirm your beneficiary designation. This is one of the most overlooked areas in financial planning. It is critical to make sure your money goes where you intend. And finally, deadlines matter. If you missed your open enrollment period, you're locked in until next year unless you have a qualifying life event. Many companies host virtual benefit fairs or webinars, so take advantage of those resources. So what's the key takeaway? Don't just hit renew. Take the time to review your options and align them with your bigger financial picture. If you want a deeper dive on any of the things we discussed, we've made videos on health savings accounts, deferred compensation, backdoor Roth conversions, and we'll link them all right in the description. They'll give you a more detailed look at strategies that could make a big difference for your wealth over time. I'm David Del Barrel. I don't sell, I don't chase, I serve. My only agenda is your success. So if you want access to the same advice the wealthy actually rely on, you're in the right place. Subscribe and like this video to stay inside the circle. Thanks for watching.